Welcome, sisters. Welcome back to Return of the Priestess 2 with your host, me, Dawn Del Vecchio, and facilitating Priestess. Today we are traveling all the way to the Andaman Islands in part of the country of India, in a very remote place, to explore reclaiming our feminine essence through righteous rage. And before I introduce our incredible speaker priestess, we're going to start, as we always do, with a connection, a few breaths. Let's get grounded, centered, and reconnect that web of sisterhood around the earth. So you can, if you feel comfortable and safe to do so, close your eyes. If you'd like to place your hands on your heart, or perhaps one hand on the heart, one hand on the womb space, or maybe even both hands on the womb space today, just settling in. Allowing yourself to gently rest in the spaciousness of this now moment as you take a breath in, opening to receive that breath as golden light coming down into your body to saturate and expand and nourish you. And then exhaling to drop the shoulders, drop the chin, settle into your sits bones, and release the day. And again, breathing in, letting the breath be the vehicle that takes you home to the center of yourself, becoming available for this transmission of energy and insight and activation. Exhaling to release everything you're ready to let go of, known or unknown. And another breath in to open, receive the light and life force energy of the breath. And exhale to settle in. Feel your connection with earth, with the heavens, with your heart, and with each other all around this earth. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. It's so good to have you all back. So let me tell you about our guest today, our wise woman. Jonita D'souza is a feminine lifestylist, an author, and creatress of Exploring Femininity. She helps modern-day busy women who struggle with burnout, overwhelm, and body love issues to reconnect with their feminine and sensual energy using the ancient Taoist and Tantric arts, so that they can create a lifestyle that is fulfilling, nurturing, and pleasurable. Now, Jonita is also a certified life coach, an NLP practitioner, and a master hypnotherapist. She combines the teachings of feminine mysticism and shamanism in her work, facilitating monthly moon circles, online workshops, and sacred feminine retreats. Jonita, welcome. It's so good to have you here with us.
Yes, I am delighted. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to join you here and share space with you. Absolutely admire your work, and I'm so looking forward to this transmission, this co-creation.
Yes, indeed. Oh, great. Well, I would love to just start out to find out more about yourself, how you got started, and how that brought you to the divine feminine path.
So, as you said, sister, in the beginning, that we are connecting from Andaman Islands in India, and that's because I grew up here in this small place in a very small town in India. And all my life, all I noticed was, all I was admired by was the television and the Western women. And I somehow wanted to be in the West and feel independent like the Western women, have the freedom. Growing up in India in the late 80s and early 90s, we were quite a tight, narrow-minded, male-dominated society. However, I was quite privileged to be raised in a family of well-educated people who allowed me to dream big, I would say. So I thought that women in the West had so much freedom, like they could wear whatever they want, they can do a lot of things, and unlike what I was experiencing in India. So for me, I thought that was independence. That's what an independent woman looks like. I grew up in mainland India. I became an IT engineer. I was financially very successful. I had all the money and stuff, but I still did not feel very independent. I felt like I had to always have a mask on to protect myself in this male dominated working environment in the IT industry, as well as the society. It wasn't very safe enough to, just walk in the streets by yourself without being, looked upon in a way, in a certain way, degrading way, I must say. So it was quite an unsafe environment. And I always admired the safety that the Western women had. And I aimed that, okay, I'm going to go there and I will finally be independent. I will finally be free. So I came to England 15 years ago and I was totally amazed. I loved the freedom of expression that women had, and I enjoyed all of that. I had a good job, and soon I found myself in a very stagnant place, the same place where I was in India when I was a high achiever. I had the money, the status, the company, but I wanted freedom. And as a woman, to express herself, not just in the office or among family members, but to wear nice clothes and just go out and not be bullied or eve teased, catcalling, as they say, which I could do in London. And I soon began to realize that women in the West also have this freedom, but in a way we were so directed to outward beauty. Everything was about looking good. And you had to dress good, to look good, to be taken seriously at work, to have good social circle. So there was constant efforting, to just be. So I found myself really confused as an in my early 20s. I didn't want to go back to India because I didn't feel free, but I didn't feel free in London, even though I had everything once again. And but something inside was missing. I just did not understand why. I was actually tired of doing doing the sexy, I would say. I wanted to do the sexy all my life, and then I got tired of doing the sexy, I must say, to be brutally honest, until a moment came when my father passed away in India, and there was like whole series of stumbling blocks that came upon me, and I hit rock bottom. And at that time, I was scared to go back to India because I didn't want to face the depression of not having this father figure who always taught me to dream big. And I could not find myself in London. I went into bad company, like binge drinking, bad social circle, drugs, and toxic relations. So I abused my freedom, in a way, and felt quite hopeless about what am I supposed to be as a woman. And I must say that it was during one of those dark nights of the soul, I would say, that I was guided to go to an event in London where this teacher came all the way from Glastonbury, and they were talking about essence. And I was in this time in life where I was in a toxic relationship. I was going through my father's loss, and I had my entire body covered with eczema. And so I did not feel good on the inside and even outside. And I was only 23 at that time. Was really nervous, scared, just didn't know what to do. And I saw a Facebook ad about this workshop, thanks to Facebook. And it was a £10 workshop for 2 hours. And she said something which resonated, find out who you want to be as a woman or something like that. So I decided to go there in a circle. That was my first experience. That was going to be my first experience in a circle. And I thought to myself that, okay, it's only £10. I'll sit by the door. I will go through the experience. If I don't like it, I'll just run away. And I'll see what she has to offer me. And I must say, I went there, I sat there, and I cried the entire 2 hours. And she said something really beautiful about essence that stuck to me. And she said something like, one of the most powerful teachings you can give to someone is to show them their essence. And that just brought floods of tears because I didn't know what is or what was my essence. And I just cried and cried. And I kept apologizing to women sitting around me. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry for crying, I'm so sorry. And they held my hand and they said, it's okay, it's okay. And I just cried for the entire 2 hours. I forgot that I even wanted to run away in the beginning.
Wow.
And that's what pulled me into this work. Yeah.
What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. I've had moments too where you're taken to your knees and the tears are, it's a holy release in a sense. It's the purification. So let's talk about that feminine essence. That's a beautiful lead into one of my questions. So, what do you mean by feminine essence and how do you work with that with women?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I think most of us, or I would say, not to generalize, but for me, the word feminine was quite distorted in a way. And I understand that the feminine has not been correctly understood for many years. It's considered masculine energy is considered to be strong, and for some reason, we consider feminine energy as the opposite of masculine, which means weak. And only now that I know that it's not the opposite energy, it's the complementary energy to masculine. And
Beautiful.
this understanding um, really changed everything for me because even when you look at the word feminine, you Google that up, all you see is, high heels, nicely done makeup, pink color, and all of that, or sensual pictures. So it's the word has been quite distorted by society for years. And even though growing up in India, this is a country where goddesses are worshipped, temples are all over the place, but the feminine, as in a woman, was considered as a symbol of beauty but submission.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of the ironies of India. You've got these extraordinarily powerful goddesses,
Exactly.
and yet women are treated with such disregard in some ways and disempowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really confusing. No wonder
Yeah.
I did not understand the feminine. I did not even want to be feminine because it wasn't safe. I would get to nowhere and probably I would be raped if I just,
Yes.
I always thought this to myself. But as I told you that when I met this teacher and she started talking about essence, that intrigued me to go find out what my essence is. And what she also said is that once you understand your essence, then that explains many of our mysterious actions, our desires, our decision making process, why we do what we do.
Wow.
And for majority of us women, the primary essence is feminine. So then it became important for me to go understand this feminine essence from a perspective so I can understand myself more. And what I found out is that feminine essence is activated when we make certain physical, energetic, emotional shifts in our lifestyle. We all have that in us, but we just don't have time, or we just don't give enough time or understanding to it. It
Uh
means
huh.
shifting our priorities to make the moments of our life much more nurturing and fulfilling to us. So, truly navigating what is a nurturing and fulfilling life, not
Uh
just
huh.
achieving.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. So,
And
what is a nurturing and fulfilling life? I love that.
yeah, and it means to give importance to creativity, emotional intimacy with yourself first, playfulness, and all of these things are part of our feminine essence, which we've kind of like, shoved away because we want to get things done, we want to get to somewhere, and it's considered as a weakness.
Hmm.
I'm glad we are in this time and age where things are shifting and we can have conversations like this, from across
Yeah.
the continents.
Yes, it is a blessing. So, okay, well, my next question then really is to lean into the righteous rage. So, we've talked about feminine essence a little bit. So, why righteous rage? What is that? And yeah, talk to us more about that and how you work with those energies.
Yeah. Um, Righteous rage. What I have understood from my experience and my work with several women is that a lot of us have a very like an active or relation with anger, in the sense like, we get angry and then we just throw it out, and then we do not understand, or we go through resentment without understanding the emotion of anger in itself. And me in particular, I was taught to be a nice girl, so you know do not be conflicting in ideas, or do not be too opinionated, or don't be so short tempered. And all of these things were told to me while I was growing up, which made me feel that anger is an emotion, specifically growing up as a Christian here, in a very strict Christian family. There was no space for anger
Ah,
to
yeah.
be expressed.
Yep.
And now working with women from around the world, I see that it is so common in so many people, so many women from different parts. We share same story. We lack the understanding of how do we channel that anger, frustration, and we are not taught. We are taught to accommodate, to be not to be that bitch, who has no control of her anger, and all of this anger accumulates into this rage,
Mm.
which then disrupts, eventually our lives, and then we are again brought into our knees, as we say. I feel, um, again, once again, this teacher that I started to work with, when I got so intrigued about her teaching about feminine essence, what she told me then is something that overwhelmed me a lot, yeah, a decade ago, is that when we decide to take a journey to discover our feminine essence, um, expect to find a lot more anger in you than you really expect.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, we've been living in this patriarchal culture for so long, and as I'm sure you know, having lived in London, Western women also get the good girl, lecture: be a good girl, don't argue, be nice, don't make a fuss. Why are you being a bitch, et cetera, et cetera. So as we journey into exploring our essence, and as you work with women and the rage comes up, how do you work with that righteous rage? Do you have processes? Do you work with goddesses, for example? What are the ways that you facilitate women's access to this rage and transformation of it so that it doesn't just kind of drag them down or blow them up?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, So what I understand is that the rage that we experience, or that we have, often does not require a transformation to begin with. Often it requires an acknowledgement to begin with.
Ah, yes. Sure.
Yeah. And in fact, when we start to begin with work with anger, and I have noticed it time and time in my retreats, that when we create an environment to start working with anger, when a woman goes into that process, the more anger comes out, and the more, so it's just not anger, the rage actually comes out. And what I feel, the best way to investigate is through our body, through
Mm.
our voice, through our breath, through our movement. And which is why I'm really grateful to the Tantric and Taoist lineage to have so many practices made available since centuries for us to understand this aspect of our womanhood. Because as long as we are alive in a woman's body, we will be met with this anger emotion, which is considered as the dark emotion. So I like working with the dark goddesses to and their metaphors so that we can resonate with the stories first of all, so that we can first start thinking that we are not really mad women or PMSing or too much to handle. But in fact, it lives in all of us, and this is a sacred part of us which is telling us a story, which is telling us a part of our expression that is required for our own evolution, and telling us where our
Wow.
needs are not met.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So for me,
Yeah.
working with the dark feminine and the dark goddesses archetypes through various breath work, through the womb, specifically the dragon breath work, I think it works amazing with women when we are able to tap into that deep place in the darkness of our womb, and we are able to voice that. We are surprised with what comes out through our throat, because again, we are not taught to use the voice that ways as well. So that's one of my favorite work, the dragon breath work. It really awakens a lot in women, and it's different every time we do it. I like to do it during the new moon, the dark moon times, so that we are in sync with the moon and we use that energy to see. And oftentimes it feels scary, it feels very vulnerable, but towards the end you feel really ecstatic, because you touch
Yes.
that power and then you understand that your power is not dangerous.
Yeah, this is an important one. I was just going to ask you. I just want to quote this though. Your power is not dangerous.
Yes.
That just let that sink in, sisters. Your power is not dangerous. This is, I think, deep underneath for some of us. There is a deep fear, and this is also from incarnational trauma, that our power is dangerous. That if we show our power, we might get burned at the stake, or whatever the punishment had been in times past in our feminine lineage or our own incarnational past. So I'm curious, when have you ever come across women who they're interested in your work, but they're afraid to really access and tap into that rage? And if so, how do you help them to feel safe enough to do that?
Yeah, yes, all the time. In fact, when I started doing dark feminine retreats when I was in London, I used to do the dark feminine retreats in Glastonbury. So I remember the first time I put it out, I saw quite a few women interested to join from different parts of the world, but they were really nervous. What if, they open a box of Pandora, and then, now they have to deal with, as it is, they have a lot to deal with, and now there's more to deal with. And
Yeah.
what I would like to say is that often we think that the power is something uncontrollable. It's gonna, like we've been taught anger and power as the goddess Kali, and the Kali goddess is sometimes shown as the mad goddess who goes dancing with blood. But on the contrary, she's this loving mother as well. She's
Yes.
extremely caring and beautiful space holder. So we have to understand, we have to begin from a space that the dark is not bad. Dark is just the absence of something that requires the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And most of the times, what I notice in circles is that we usually begin with conversations about our darkness, through storytelling, and then we go into small breath work and movement, and then when one woman starts that, it just passes around the room, it just flows, and that's the beauty of circling together as well. That when there is a little opening, that we can show from our vulnerable space, together we create an evolutionary space. And it's really important that we trust ourselves that we will not be burnt by this.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up about the power of circle and sister circles, and when we feel safe to share vulnerably, it opens up because we can hold the space for each other. We can create the safe container together. Beautiful.
Yeah, and movement is one of the very beautiful practices, which where we can allow those stuck emotions to come out. And I know that I always stress women to use their voice. And in the beginning, we are like, okay, being watchful, being considerate, and being a bit judgmental about our own selves. I was like that too. I couldn't get a voice out of my mouth in a circle. But it's upon our intention. I know so many women who come for this work truly desire this. And once you're able to connect with another person in that deep desiring level with
Yeah.
thorough understanding, because you have come from that space and journeyed, it gives the space to the other women to open up. Now that we do this online, it's still the same. I mean,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
the same in terms of being in a it can never be the same, but
Right.
the amount
Yeah.
of opening can still
Yeah,
be the
the
same.
sharing circle can still happen quite beautifully. It's true. I've experienced that as well online. Yeah. So speaking of online, I know you have an experience to share with us here. So what I'd like to do now is just turn this over to you, and you can tell us what you'll be guiding us through. And I'm going to actually mute myself, so it's all yours now.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. What I would like to take us into is a small listening practice to meet with our dark feminine. And I like to say that it is our responsibility as women, because we have the dark months of the cycle, our inner moon as well as the outer moon, and we are met with darkness time and time every lunar cycle. So it is important that we give some time to listen to her voice. Her voice is always there. So I'd like to take us through a small guided sound, a journey. And what I would like to say is that probably this could be a right moment if you want to pause and set the space undisturbed for another 10 minutes. And I like to do this in the dark. When we do it in circles, we even blindfold ourselves. So we can truly feel the dark and bring our concentration. So if that is possible, that is really good. And I will invite you to lie down on the floor like a hard surface. So this would be the right moment to prepare that space for you. And once you're ready, we can then begin. Okay, so I invite us to go into this practice of listening to the dark feminine with the trust that the Divine Mother takes care of us at all time. Let's take a deep breath in through our nose, into our womb, depth of our belly. Hold it there for a couple of seconds and simply exhale through the mouth. And we'll do that one more time, taking a deep breath in through our nose, down into our belly. We hold the breath as deep as it can reach inside of us. And then we allow it to come out through the womb, heart, mouth, and exhale. And now is the moment I will invite you to lie down on the floor comfortably. Just straight down and feel into your body, touching the surface. And now move your body to your side. See which side comes naturally to you. And you can bring your knees closer to your belly, just like how you will be in the womb of darkness, in your mother's womb. So sideways and knees closer to your belly as much as you can. Making yourself feel comfortable because you will be in this position for some time. And this is how you rest in the darkness of your mother's womb. This position is considered to be of deep rest and embrace. And with your one ear touching the ground and feeling this sound, let's practice listening deeply. Let's become conscious of our breath. Notice how it is flowing through your nose. And listening deeply. Relaxing your jaws with every breath. See if there is any tension in your jaws. And if so, you can slightly open your mouth with every exhale to relax, ease your jaws. And we will begin with an invocation of the Sophia God, Divine Mother of all life. Take me to that dark place deep within your womb, where I can know nothing and be reborn anew. Noticing your breath. I invite you to listen to your breath as I speak about the dark goddess, the dark feminine within you. This dark feminine is a mysterious, hidden, forbidden figure in this patriarchal society, portrayed to us with her different roles of a wicked witch, the bad mother, the crone, the drama queen. But what we are not familiar is with her other side of deep compassion, courage, healing, and rebirth. Sadly, we do everything to resist the dark feminine. Run the other way, medicate ourselves, numb ourselves, distract ourselves, be busy. But Divine Sister, the dark feminine is your creative force, your divine protector, the one who liberates you from the illusions of your ego, fears, and your own judgment, your own spiritual negligence. Let's take a deep breath in and feel into what comes up for you when I say dark feminine. Exhaling through the mouth, relaxing your jaws. Ancient cultures, since the beginning of time, worshipped the dark goddesses in the form of Hecate, Isis, Kali, Lilith, Medusa, Inanna, and so many more. Because these dark goddesses reflect the parts of ourselves that we have not yet accepted, so that we can truly become the lighthouse that we already are. Your dark feminine whispers you intuitions you don't want to hear. She warns you about the inappropriate choices you make in your daily lives, and you know this voice. We often wait for everything to fall apart around us to begin the search for understanding. This is the unwilling journey of the dark feminine, where we can break this pattern and begin to co-create with her on a regular basis. The journey of the dark feminine is for courageous souls like yours. The process of rebirth transformation. She's asking you for your regular communion with her, so that she is no longer feared or cast away. So sister, listen deeply as it is. No filter, no judgment. She is your half-sister that lives in the darkness, in absolute stillness and silence. What has she got to tell you? Especially about the parts of your life right now that is not working for you. Listen. And even if you don't hear anything, stay present in this void. It's still worthwhile. This is the beginning of this communion. She's inviting you of this split part of yourself that you are running away from. Where are you being too harsh or judgmental to yourself? Listen. What are you denying to yourself? Your dark feminine is the promise of your power, struggling to be free. The part of you that you repress to fit in. What does she have to tell you? Take this moment to simply listen to those first voices and simply acknowledging there is nothing to change, nothing to transform, nothing to heal in this moment. Simply witnessing your dark feminine. And now you can relax your body. Come back to the lying position gently, bringing your hands anywhere in your body that requires this touch of safety. Noticing you being held by yourself as you commune with your dark feminine in total safety. In the arms of the Universal Mother. And it's all good. It's all safe. You are safe. Noticing your breath. And this is the moment you can slowly bring your attention back to your body. Wiggle your toes, move your hands. And you can bring your presence back to the room at your own space. And you might want to just sit in this stillness and truly journal those thoughts, any words of wisdom that came up for you as part of this first meeting, this communion with your dark feminine. Giving her thanks and gratitude for showing you a part of yourself that is part of your true feminine essence. And in this moment, thanking yourself for taking yourself to this moment of listening. And as you begin to come back and choose to share or journal, all that is required is your presence of this aspect of this beautiful dark goddess in you. And she has beautiful ways to begin her work with you. You will divinely be guided, supported, looked after. It is done, it is done, it is done. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. That was incredible. I'd really like to invite the sisters who've attended this to share in the Facebook group, if you're willing to. What did the dark goddess whisper in your ears? What did you hear or see? How did you experience this journey? I would love to hear. So go to the Facebook group and find Jonita's posts, and then you can write in there if you're willing, whatever you're willing to share. It is a private group, so only people in the group will see it. Jonita, thank you. That was really gorgeous and powerful for me as well. And I know that there's a way that women can work with you with your womb rage course. Would you tell us a little about that? And again, that's something, sisters, you can access, you can register for in the link below. But if you just share a little about what that experience is.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to ask you a question. Do you have anything to share, something that came up for you that you would like to, and I would love to witness you in that.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, for me, I've had a long time relationship with Ma Kali. So I have, I've been through the dark rage with her before and feel her much more as a mother now. So for me, I've worked through a lot of rage in my life and a lot of anger. So it was much more related to feeling her hold me and kind of have my back for the strength of continuance.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. Loving embrace.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
this is to hold this event is a lot. As you know, I think you've run speaker series before too. To have 28 speakers is and 3 live events. So strength was more what I'm where I'm at and what I'm needing right now. I'm not needing to process rage or anything, but I felt her come in right away in that real gentle mother way.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, the womb rage. It is a 3 days of ceremony that I have created for women to begin their journey with the dark feminine, and specifically for those women who feel that we have some unexpressed emotions that we don't know how to express, where to express. Oftentimes we think that we are not able to express it to another person, with another person, to make some resolution. This ceremony takes you to 3 days of process where you go through different layers of your own anger, the primary, secondary emotions, which is the sankalp ceremony in day one. And so you do not really need to have another person's presence to go through, an anger resolution within yourself. And
Ah.
this takes you through that, because the most important thing is that we come home in peace with ourselves, at peace
Ah.
with ourselves. So the first day is all about the sankalp ceremony, where we go through introspection. The day two is a variety of tandav ceremony, which is like the Kali dance. So it's a guided
Mm.
ceremony where we go into the process of embodiment process, including the dragon breath work. And the day three is the transfiguration ceremony, where you bring all your learnings and acknowledge yourself as this true creatress goddess, and take the learnings and transform it for what you want to do next in your life. How do you use this anger to some creative potential? And oftentimes, the people who have done this repeat it every dark moon, new moon times of the
Oh.
lunar cycle, because it's different every time.
Yeah, so this is once you have this, you can keep working with it and keep working with Dark Mother, the dark goddesses, to facilitate your own growth.
Yeah, and
Wow,
begin to
this is
love
beautiful.
that power within yourself, because
Yeah.
the dragon power awakens in you. And a lot of women
Mm.
enjoy that fact, like, oh, okay, this was quite unexpected. I'm actually liking this voice inside of me.
Nice. So, sisters, if you want to awaken the dragon power in you and work with the dark goddesses, this sounds like a perfect opportunity. So, thank you for that. And I know it's a special offer for our community here. So, thank you, Jonita. And thank you for your time and your wisdom today and your sacred work in the world. It's a pleasure and an honor to have had a taste of your medicine. And sisters, thank you for being here as always. Stay with us for all of the speaker series. Be sure to share in the Facebook group your experience, and be sure to take advantage of this opportunity to work with the dark goddesses and really awaken that strength in you. And until our next call, we will see you then. Have a blessed day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Take good care.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much for creating this space and giving women opportunity to learn from different teachers, taste different feminine essences around.
Yes, yes, there are very many different. So, and yeah, and it's an honor. It is such an honor to have this diversity. It's like all the faces of the goddess come to this gathering. So, may
Amazing work.
every sister who attends feel and know her own beautiful face of the goddess as well. Okay, until next time, thank you.